guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about something a little bit different, and it's something that is really close and personal to me, so I hope you guys enjoy this because I do. Today I'm going to talk about manifestation, and if you are in a dark place, the message that I really want to tell you is that you can have anything that you want in life, and you just have to, this sounds like something really annoying that like my grandma would say to me, change your perspective. So in order to tell you why this works, I have to kind of rewind and tell you a little bit about my story and how this worked out for me. So let's start from the beginning. As a younger kid, I feel like I was really happy and confident, and you know, I really just felt like good things happened to me. Pretty lucky. Like when I was like 12, I got like a modeling contract, which now like I don't want to hear the comments. I wanted to be a singer, and I wanted to like go and be like a singer in a band and like be famous and blah blah blah. And I really felt like that was going to happen for me simply because I was just star potential. Like that's how I felt. And I did have some success in that, but as I got older and I moved away from my home, and I had this kind of like difficulty fitting in my new town. I had a period of time in my life where I got really down on myself. I didn't feel like I was star potential. I felt like I was dismissed all the time, and that I was like just bothersome to people. I started to feel a little bit angsty. I think everybody kind of goes through that. Then I got older, and like I married someone who was, I think, also angsty, and I got divorced. So that's where my story really begins. I got really close with somebody who was kind of a spiritual guide to me, even though he belongs in one specific group of religion and I do not. We did talk about our experiences in life a lot together, and he challenged me to just think of myself differently. He was like, you feel like you are a victim, you have this mentality where bad things happen to you, that you are unlucky, that you are not one of the lucky ones. And why do you feel that way? Because you are just confirming to the universe that that is what you are and that is what you get. At the time I was like, that's oversimplified, some people are just luckier than others. And he was like, maybe they create their own luck. And I thought that meant like hard work and access to good schools and rich kids who didn't have to work in college because their parents paid for everything and they didn't have to work in college and things like that. I was really bitter. This person was someone I worked for, and I ended up working there after college because I felt like I couldn't move on. I felt like there was nowhere for me to go. I lived in this town where, you know, it's small and the cost of living is low, and I was living my life, living with my mom. I had a degree, but I couldn't use it because no one in the area needed someone with that type of degree, and I couldn't move away because I couldn't afford to, and I couldn't afford to travel to go to job interviews. And it was just like this thing where I had this issue with money. For me, it was always money. I grew up, bless her, honestly, she didn't mean to do this, but my mom would always tell me we can't afford this, and if I wanted something, she'd be like, oh, that's really expensive. The message that ended up being taught to me was that those things were not for me. Those things, like that expensive thing that you want, you can't have that because we're not the type of people who have money. We're not the type of people who can afford those things. That's what was in my thought bubble. That's what my belief system was that I was not the type of person that could do that because I had no money. So in 2015, I graduated from college, and like I said, I stayed at that job. In 2015, I applied for the very first time as a flight attendant, and I did not get it. In 2016, I applied again. I immediately got thanks but no thanks. In 2017, I decided I would apply for multiple airlines and see what happened. I also got into a relationship in that year that turned out to be very emotionally abusive and at times physically abusive as well. Anyways, that guy asked me to move with him to Michigan, and we really hadn't spent much time together in the past. We had always lived in separate cities. And I just said, what the heck, like, I'm never gonna know if he's the right one for me unless I spend some time with him, so why don't I go? And while I'm there, I'll be in this new area with lots of opportunities, or maybe I will find something new for me. So in 2017, I applied for multiple airlines and I moved to Michigan. What I really found was my spirituality. I wasn't expecting it, I wasn't searching for it, but I was kind of searching for a way to get out of the apartment, and so I started spending a lot of time at my gym. My gym offered a really great yoga program, and I ended up going all the time. I was in such a dark place, feeling so bad about myself and not feeling like there was anything in the world for me. And I was in this, terrible relationship. I started going to yoga and I found myself just really changing, mentally changing. I took the lessons that you learn on the yoga mat about falling out of a pose and getting back up into it. I took those lessons into my life. I've started to, for the first time, learn that just because you see roadblocks doesn't mean that that is the end of the road. You just have to get around it. You have to work your way through it. I got this subscription service called Gaia, and I started listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza. And although this became spiritual for me, Dr. Joe Dispenza's speakings, his talks, really were scientific, and that's, I think, what made it click for me. In particular, he has a book that he speaks on called, I think it's called like Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. I'll put it in the video right here. He talks about how who you are as a person is pretty much developed in your 30s, and your habits are just exercised neural pathways, basically. I'm not a scientist, he is, so definitely listen to him. He talks about how your habits are just, decisions that you've made over and over and over again. And in order to break habits and become a new person, you have to physically stop and say, hey, my leg doesn't stretch that way. Why don't I work on that? Hey, you guys, pause for just a second. Editing Tara here. And I wanted to just take a second to re-describe what I'm talking about. It is like exercise. You have to exercise your mind to achieve that goal. That's why I made the analogy of the leg, but I don't think I explained that very well. So if you want to achieve new abilities, then you have to exercise that brain muscle. Okay, hope that makes sense. So let's say my biggest issue is like smoking, and I decide like, I don't want to be a smoker anymore. Well, I identify as a smoker, so now I'm going to tell myself I'm not a smoker. I've quit smoking. No thanks, I don't smoke. That may not be true today, but that's true in a year, because over and over and over again, over time, I've created new neural pathways that create new habits, and now instead of smoking, I do something else. I don't smoke, that's just an analogy, but you understand. Even though at the time I didn't realize I was like peaking on my spirituality, I did know that every time I would go to yoga, I would shed a few tears. I would cry. I was really breaking through a part of me that I didn't even know needed to be broken. I finally heard back from the airline. I heard back from one, they said thanks but no thanks. I heard back from another, and they wanted to interview me. And then they said thanks but no thanks. And then the third one got back to me and they said we wanted to do a video interview. So I did it. And I thought to myself all the time, I was like, I have to have this because I have to get out of here. And it was really almost a matter of life and death. And then after a month went by, I was like, oh, I haven't heard from them. It was kind of like I had just stopped obsessing over it. Like I had told myself after the video interview, I was like, yes, this is it. They definitely are gonna hire me. Then I just quit obsessing over it. And then about a month went by and I thought about it and I said, maybe they don't like me. But that day that it came back into my mind, I got the email that said, hey, we'd like to interview you on the phone. So I do the phone interview. And I get off the phone with the guy who interviews me and refresh my email, and they say, hey, we'd like to interview you in person. I've never made it to the in-person interview before. Normally you guys just don't even like me. Now you like me? Okay, so I go to the in-person interview, and I had done a little research. They interview you like 150 people at a time. At the end of the interview process, they break you down into 4 groups. Group 4 goes home first. You guys are definite no's. Group 3, maybe we don't really like you that much, but we see some decent qualities. Group 2, we like you. If we happen to need more people, we'll call you. Group 1 gets the job offer that day. Now me, coming from a background where I felt really bad about myself, I did not feel like one of the lucky ones. I just felt like good things always slip through my fingers. And I thought, well, I'll probably be in group 2. But I went to the interview and I was just my authentic self. I was enjoying meeting new people. I'm good at being with people. I like meeting new people. And I went through the interview process. I talked to everybody. I was very involved in the activities that they had. And at the end of the day, I was in group 1. They offered me my job that day. So I went from somebody who couldn't even get an interview with the airline to, we like you so much, we want you right now. It was such a surprise. I really did not know what to say, but it was my ticket out of that relationship because I knew that I was gonna have to move. We broke up. We did have some on again, off again moments there at the end, but we broke up. And at that point, I had been through so much with guys. I was like, I told my best friend, I don't want to date anybody unless he's gonna be the one I marry. This is now 2018. So I applied for the job in 2017. I got hired in 2018 in April. So now we're in August. I'm living in New York. I go back to Alabama to visit my best friend for her birthday. And while I'm in Alabama, I meet this guy. I see him at a restaurant and I think, he's cute. But if he doesn't come over here to talk to me, I'm not going to instigate anything. Why? Because I am done with dating. He didn't make a move, that's fine. But he did end up DMing me later. And that's how I met Raccoon. And I manifested that. I said out loud, I said those words, the next guy I want to date is going to be the guy I marry. And then we got married 3 months later. So now a lot of people think that we got married because I was pregnant. And while the rush was maybe true, as soon as Raccoon and I started dating, I know that you're the one. We pretty much knew right away, you are the person I want to be with. And we immediately started talking about babies. We immediately were like, yes, I'm going to spend my life with you. Yes, I want to have babies with you. And we talked about it so much. I remember one night at Waffle House, we were talking about what would we name our kids. And then one time he came on a flight with me. I was working and he came on my layover, and he told the flight attendants that was working on my crew that he was going to replace my birth control with aspirin. And although that was a joke, and he never did that, I promise he never did that, I actually was already pregnant but didn't know it on that day. And we as a couple talked about having children so much that boom, we didn't know it was going to be so soon. And that is why we ultimately decided to get married so quickly. I think I was maybe 6 to 8 weeks pregnant when we got married. But we knew we wanted to get married. We manifested the marriage. We manifested the baby. And I say all that because I just want to express how wonderful it can be and how much just being mindful and really changing your perspective can just alter your life so much. I went from being just this person who could not view life in a positive way to being someone who got everything that I asked for. And I'm still working on getting the things that I'm asking for. And sometimes you get so hung up on things that you end up sabotaging your manifestation by obsessing over it. Because if the universe or God or Source or Allah or Buddha or whatever it is that you believe in, if you are setting out this vibration of lack, then the universe sends that energy back to you and you will have more lack. Think of it like a radio station. Like, I want to listen to rock music. I'm going to turn to a rock station. I want more money. So now I'm tuning in to the vibration of more money. Just like Dr. Joe Dispenza's speeches, where he is very scientific and methodical about how this all works. It is scientific. Everything in this world is made of energy. You can sense when someone's uncomfortable. You can feel that in the air. It's energy, it's vibrations meeting each other. We are just all energy. And the world, the universe, God, it can sense your energy. And if you're in this energy of, well, guys don't like me, well, then you're gonna meet more and more guys who don't like you. And if you're just like, well, I'm really poor, then you're just gonna have more poorness. So tell yourself every single day, I am rich, I am healthy, I am whatever it is in the world that you want to be, and you will be it. That's my message for you guys today. I hope it's a good one. I hope my story inspires you in any kind of way to just be more mindful, and I hope to share more of these ideas with you in the future. If you like this, give it a thumbs up because it really helps me know that you like this type of video, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. I love your guts.